on the channel, we never fake it around here, especially with the evil robot of Skeletor. Today on the channel, from the He-Man Masters of the Universe, Mondo, we got Faker.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Mondo unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we're back to the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe with Faker Take 2. But for all your Faker Mondo needs, Mondo, I guess. But for everything else under the sun, hit up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. Of course, anything over $99 does ship free. But Mondo redoing a few of these older Mondo Masters of the Universe figures they did once upon a time. 4 or 5 years ago, what is time? They did an original Faker, and we'll bring that one out later in this video, so stay tuned to that. I believe also Man-at-Arms is going to be re-released. We're seeing He-Man Skeletor re-released, so they're updating a lot of these classic characters with modern technology, more bells and whistles. The ebbs and flows, I guess Mondo's no different than Hasbro or Mattel, just at a much more expensive price point, as we do know. And it is always a little scary with some of these Mondos, especially as of late, if you've been watching on the channel, especially on Patreon. I don't think they're all on traditional YouTube yet, but have had some quality issues that have been pretty severe, so that's always unfortunate. Mondo will make it right, I get it, but it's never fun when you wait a long time for something, you spend a lot of money on something, you want it to be about perfect for you. We all work hard for our money. I understand how that goes. I know it's hard to expect perfection, but you want it to get as pretty much close to that as you can get. But one thing we're going to be perfect on is how we do this review. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. But this is the packaging here. Of course, comes in the outer shipping box we usually get from Mondo. Coming via DHL these days, it seems like. You got the Mondo exclusive sticker down low there, of course. All kinds of backgrounds here. Poor little Orko, he's confused. This has got to be He-Man. This has got to be. He might look like a little akin to a Smurf, but it's He-Man. There must be just something in the water today. Who knows? But come on, Orko, you're a better magician than that. All kinds of stuff, though, in the packaging. Always looking good. No matter what, it always seems like Masters Universe art is always breathtaking, no matter if it's from Mattel, Mondo, or anybody else. It does say Faker Deluxe figure. And on the side, Masters of the Universe over there. Mondo. And then, of course, on the back, we got War and Peace. We got to read about Faker. We got to read about him a little bit. What's it say? Well, let's see. Let's dive in. The evil robot of Skeletor. Once built as a royal body double for He-Man, this heroic lookalike was retired and forgotten until now. Reanimated by a wicked spell, Faker sprung to life once more, this time as the evil robotic warrior of Skeletor. Together, they set out to trick the people of Eternia and claim the Grayskull throne, hell-bent on the destruction of all that is good, like a young Judas Priest back in the 70s. Shout out to the priest. Priest in the East, watch out. But I'll never forget, we've told the story on the channel before. I think my dad was even in one of the videos here where we talked about it. But I remember my dad as a little kid, or when I was a little kid, my dad telling me, this He-Man line has gone too far when they're just redoing He-Man but putting him in blue. I remember him saying, it's basically jump the shark. He about coined that before it happened. I don't know if that's quite the answer there, but that was the first time I ever recognized in my life that we're getting the most out of our molds and toys. So always did stick with me all these years later. So there you go. Of course, you get the power of magnets that compel us with Masters of the Universe. Beautiful, beautiful picture over here. And then you got the big window here if you want to keep him in the package, of course. But that's not what this channel does. We take it out. We devalue these things as quick as we possibly can. That's what we do on this channel here. You guys have seen it. You guys have seen it. We're going to pull Faker out, maybe. Oh, it's a tight box. Oh, everybody loves a tight box. That is for sure. But a lot going on in this box, no doubt about it. We got all kinds of accessories. You got the stand. All kinds of stuff in there. And then we got the big one right here. All kinds of stuff going there. And holy Holy cow, it smells like China. Oh, that time I went to China, this is exactly what the air smelled like. It was just like plastic from all the action figure factories. But now we're seeing all these action figure factories in China close down. They're moving to India. They're moving to the Vietnams of the world. Never forget our own personal Vietnam of 2024. China starting to develop a little bit faster, getting out of this large-scale manufacturing. They're moving more to the Western world. So, going to be interesting. That's politics. That's not what we do here. But we'll see what happens in the future with some of these factories. But man, oh man, overpowering smell here. But I'm going to take all this offline, get Faker out of the package. We'll be back talking all things the evil robot, Faker. All right, no faking here. This is pretty amazing out of the package. Gotta say, a lot of stuff. And I always say this with Mondo and some of these other toy companies where we order it and it's kind of, you set it and you forget it. It finally comes, you're like, oh yeah, I remember they were doing that. Oh yeah, I remember we had this head coming. That's where I feel with this Faker. It's kind of a nice surprise after months of waiting, and that's the way it goes. But very, very cool here. We're going to dive into it. We're going to start with the accessories. A lot of cool stuff with this one. There's no doubt about it. And I'm really, so far, fingers crossed, the quality seems to be pretty good, but we're going to run it through its paces. Stay tuned. Now, of course, you get the Masters stand here. Always kind of have that special dedicated stand for the Masters of the Universe. Got that again here, so you always get that with the Mondos. As I always say, you got to put them on a stand. Nobody wants these falling off a shelf. I don't care if it's from 2 feet or 12 feet. You don't want these falling off your shelf. There's no doubt about it. But now, diving into the hands here, very interesting. We get 2 full-on robot hands. How cool is that? Just straight up, all the flesh or plastic or whatever it was over his skin is all removed here. It's just straight up Terminator robot style there, so you do have that. Then we got regular hands. Now he's got 2 fists of fury right out of the package ready to go. Get 2 gripping hands, of course, to handle the weapons. Probably going to use one or most likely both of these with mine. And then we got the what you gonna do He-Man hand right here. He's going to tell you, or he's going to tell everybody he's number 1, or he's going to represent the bloodline. You never know what he might be doing with this hand. He might be even picking his robot nose, but we do get the one hand going with him there. Looking pretty cool. Now, we do get this extra arm, or I should say forearm attachment. You plug the hand into the end here, and then the forearm comes. I was very, very concerned. I'm like, how hard is this going to be? But it's amazing how easy this just slides out, just like so. It slides through here, slide it in there, and you're off to the races. So I'm very happy to report you don't have to heat it up or anything. At least I didn't have to. Slid right out of there very easily. Just a little gentle tug, but it's not going to fall off on its own. So I do like the quality there. That's what I was saying. The quality feeling very nice on this one as far as the interchangeability on that. Heading down to a few weapons here. You got the holster here, the sheath, and the knife here. So you get the knife, put this around his calf, and you're ready to go, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's got a nice elastic band here, so it'll stretch right over there. Looking nice, very wrapped up, very ornate, but we do get the little knife there looking very, very nice. Get a very futuristic blaster here. Of course, He-Man and the Master Universe always walking the line from old school, like old-timey Knights of the Round Table stuff with swords and shields, but then very futuristic weaponry like this one here. And this one definitely futuristic. A big old blaster. He's just going to start blasting everybody. That's what old Faker's going to do. But now to some more traditional weapons, maybe. We get the old battle axe right here, ready to go. Nice feel to this one here. Of course, nice there in red. Obviously, you got to get the most out of your molds on these. We got some of that He-Man wrapping style. Then at the end, you got the point with that same little reddish, purplish color going on. And then you got Faker's power sword right here with the same kind of color combination going on. Once again, got to get the most out of your molds, but it makes sense here. Got the wrapping, got the colors right there, ready to go. Looking very nice there. Now, of course, you got the classic shield. Always got to have that. Looking good here. Of course, you slide the forearm there, grab it on the end. Got the shield ready to defend whoever he needs to defend, or take on whoever needs to offend. But nice feel to these, of course, as we usually get from Mondo. And we've seen these before as well, just painted a different color once again. Now, this one, of course, I talked about it. I did have the Faker from before. So, obviously, not a whole lot of reuse between these two. Constant learning, constant improvement. We say about that all the time. But it's very cool that even if you have that one, and that's one of the ones where they announced this Faker, I said, oh, I already got a Faker. Do I need another one? I truly feel there's enough meat on the bone here, and you can make them feel so entirely different that it is worth actually having both of these, or just pick up 2 of these and make them feel really different. Obviously, quality on these newer ones a little bit better than that old Faker. I guess I should show that old Faker. I guess I have it right here. But it is a totally different skin tone, all that. We'll get to that into comparisons here, but definitely feels totally different than that old Faker, this one. So I think there is enough meat on the bone if you were on the fence. But diving in, something totally different. And once again, I kind of forgot about this. It is the nice clasp over here. It does plug together. Now, we saw this with Battle Armor He-Man, of course, from Mondo. And I believe we see this with the Deluxe Skeletor. Once again, for whatever reason, I've been putting off unboxing that Deluxe Skeletor. Figures that have so many multiple looks, it's just like, it's so intimidating to unbox. I'm like, I gotta be in a special mood to unbox that one, and I kind of forgot about it over there in my collection, but I will get to that here. I'm knocking out a lot of these Mondo reviews early on in January 2025. Once again, cheap plug for the Patreon, and get early access to all those if that is your thing. But looking very wild here, of course, but we saw this before, and the power of magnets just compel us like never before. Just amazing technology. Magnets, who'd have thought? Just amazing technology, but looking very good there. And of course, you do got the little magnets here of the little emblem. So you choose your own emblem adventure. You want battle damage, you want regular, just magnetizes right on the front there. Very, very cool. I like that a whole lot. Very, very nice, and a way to make Faker feel even more different than his normal one. So there's another thing you can go, another meat on the bone. You also get another front part. I wish they would have gave us the whole part, but I understand it. They're going to make the most what they can. You use the back of this one, you plug it in here. Same thing applies, but you got his robot tape deck right underneath there. The old reel-to-reel. Shout out to the old reel-to-reel. But we do got that going there. So you can choose your own adventure as far as those body parts do go. So a lot going on in the accessory department. And like I said, there's enough to make many different versions of Faker. I always say this about figures like this that have all these combinations, the Mythic Legion, Cosmic Legions. I wonder how many different combinations you could make of Faker here. Probably 1,000 easily. You know, one could be different with a sword in one hand and a gun in the other. The other one could have the sword in this hand and the knife in the other. I mean, there's so many just little differences you could do. It could go on for days. For days, I tell ya. But diving into Faker here, the head out of the package is very He-Man-like Faker. And I don't know who's fallen for Faker. I mean, the blue skin throws it off. It's weird, these guys in Eternia. A lot of colorblind people out there, I guess, apparently. But a very good standard Faker head here. Very stoic looking a lot like Prince Adam, He-Man, of course. Got the red eyes, got the orange hair, the blue skin. Oh, yeah, looks like He-Man to me for sure. But a good plain Jane head going on there. But then business picks up. We get the fiery head with the brighter red eyes. You got the green under the eyebrows. You got a little of them Faker teeth showing. Are those dentures? Are they fake? What are we doing here? We got veneers in there? What is doing here? But a very similar hairdo, just a little bit more angry for Faker right there. And then we keep working the transition. Now we get one where he's turning all Terminator. And once again, I'm quoting Terminator without ever seeing a Terminator movie. Look at me. Know enough to be dangerous, though, that is for sure. But we do got that Terminator-like face on this one here. You got the teeth showing, a little bit of skin, a little bit of Robotnik's. Wild, wild party right there. Might end up using this one. I might do that. We'll see what happens. And then last but certainly not least, we got the full-on robot head for Faker. So you want to go full robot? I always say you never go full robot, but if you want to go full robot, you got this head here. Now, one thing I was thinking, hey, I could use some of these heads for this Faker, and the Faker head pops off fairly easy. There we go. And really the only head you could possibly use with this one is the robot one if you wanted to. It will stick on there just fine. It looks like it matches this one. Unfortunately, you can't put any of these other heads over here because the skin tone is such drastic difference in blue colors. I mean, nobody's stopping you if you wanted to, but to my eye, it just doesn't work. The blues are just too drastically different to make them work. But once again, you can do that, and if you want to move on from this one, you could technically use that full-on robot head. That will work, so that is an option out there for you. But now let's dive into the rest of Faker right here, and there's a lot of ways to go with this one, once again, as I did say. So, of course, over the top, you do get the chest piece here, very akin to a young Skeletor, once again, getting the most out of the molds. You guys know how that goes, but very Skeletor-like, just in the more Faker graphics. Now, this comes off very easily. You do get these straps, and they just easily plug in the back. Now, it's interesting because sometimes Mondo, from myself and others, it's too hard to replace these things. It's too hard to move them. And every time you got to move something, you got to go to the hairdryer. Doesn't seem to be the case with this Faker. As I say, mileage may vary, but for me, I don't have to. This unplugs very easily, maybe too easily, I said, but you don't have to heat it up. You don't have to do anything like that. So you can easily take off the shoulder harness apparatus. If that is your thing, you want to remove that, it's very easy to do. Same thing with the one around the waist here. He's got that skirt there. Of course, a little emblem there in the front, looking very nice. And it wouldn't be an Eternia without Eternia's fanciest loincloth right there. Got a little real fur there. Shout out to the Mondo team going real fur. You know we're here for that. Got real fur down here on the boots as well. And then, of course, the wrappings here like we do see with He-Man, of course. Looking very nice. Bright blue skin tone throughout on this Faker. Now, this one a lot duller. I definitely prefer this brighter one. But honestly, when I think of Faker, I think of the more duller one, but maybe my mind has moved on from childhood, I don't know, but something about this bright, vibrant blue really, really pops on this against the kind of purplish colors. A very, very nice looking figure. One of those figures that really stands out on a shelf. I can see me catching my eye on this with the bright blue colors. I'm always attracted to blue for some reason, but looking really good on this Faker here across the board. And of course, jacked up He-Man body. We know it. We love it. We want some more of it. I love a jacked up He-Man body, just like you do as well, I'm sure. Forearm bracer over here, a different bracer on this side. Choose your own bracer adventure, I guess. Now, arms do go all the way around for us. You do get a bicep cut, single jointed elbow, very smooth as butter. Like I said, some of these are very, very tight. We've had issues with, not the case of this one here. And then the hands remove very easily. Now, had issues just recently with that Spider-Man animated series. Man, probably the toughest go I've ever had from Mondo. Then I did unbox Cyclops. Spoiler alert, it's up on Patreon. It's been there for a while. Had a lot of issues with the Cyclops figures. But man, it's nice to feel like, at least fingers crossed right here, I'm back on track with this one. This one feels very, very nice in hand, and the joints move very, very well. Of course, hula hoop up top, traditional waist right there as well. You do get the splits. Look at that. That's a pretty deep split for Mondo, all things considered. Legs do go up a little bit. That's about as much as we ever get from Mondo. We do get the double jointed knees down here. You do get a little side to side, and then of course the ankles up and down, back and forth. Mondo on the feet. No peg on the bottom. Of course, use the regular stand. I should mention too, and I guess I'll show it in the glamour shot instead of wasting time taking this all off. You do got the patented kind of tape recorder there on Faker's chest underneath the harness apparatus here, so you'll be able to see that too if you want to display him shirtless. Whatever you want to do with your Faker. It's your Faker after all. But man, a fun one, and one that beat my expectations. I got to admit, I was very down on Mondo's. I've been really knocking some of these ones out. I've had greasy plastic. I've had pegs breaking off. I've had joints that just aren't working because they're so tight even with a hairdryer. And then I've had some that are just so wobbly loose, it's like I grabbed a frog out of a pond. So all the gamut of emotions with Mondo over the last couple of weeks as I've been diving into a lot of these Mondo figures, trying to get them unboxed here on the channel. But man, this one feels about the best one. This feels very similar to the Lion-O, which we unboxed on the channel towards the end of 2024. Man, oh man, that Lion-O might have been the best Mondo figure as far as quality control, feeling smooth, feeling good, feeling definitely worth the price point. And I gotta say, this Faker's feeling about the same way as well. So a little of this, a little of that, and a dash of the other. Would rather have this every single day than some of the other troubles I've had as of late. So really needed this one. Mondo needed a win for me personally, and maybe they're getting back on track with this one, and we'll see what comes in the future for us. Of course, I'm collecting all the X-Men, maybe Thundercats, probably just Mumra and Lion-O, but I'm all in on the He-Man. I've gone too far. There's no turning back now, so I'm all in. Can't wait to see what comes next, and I'm sure we got a lot more pre-orders coming in 2025. We better get ready for those, so stay tuned to that. I mean, we got Duplicat for him to ride in the future as well, so look forward to that review on the channel one day down the line. But there it is, Faker, back on track here with Mondo Toys. What's your thoughts on this one? Is he a pickup, pass, long game, no game? You guys tell me, or maybe you're one that has the old Faker and you say, you know what, I'm good with this one. But I really do appreciate Mondo making this just totally, entirely different, this new one from the old one. I do appreciate that. So we'll see what happens in the future, though, with some of these other re-releases or reruns, whatever you want to call them, like Man-at-Arms we talked about earlier. But let me know, once again, your thoughts on Faker in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Dangerously close to 50,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That is one of the goals I have for 2025, is to hit 50,000 subscribers. Would be very nice to hit those subscriber milestone by the 5-year anniversary come March, and expect a lot of fun stuff in March around that 5-year anniversary of this very YouTube channel. So appreciate the support over there. Appreciate all the extra support over there on Patreon. Tons of Mondo stuff way ahead of time over there. Check out the Patreon, support the channel. All kinds of stuff every single day on the Patreon. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram, and of course now on TikTok. So for the mighty Faker, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.